Heathcliff, are you excited? Are you excited? We're excited today because on the table is a parts kit. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have a parts kit that just came in the mail, and boy am I excited about it. I'm also feeling a little bit bittersweet. I'll get into that in a little bit, but for right now, let's get into the meat of this. Now, just to be clear, I'm not going to be flipping any of these parts over to show you. I've already checked everything. Everything's good. In fact, it's like beyond good. But I've already set it up the way I want to present it in this video. I don't want to flip anything around because it is covered in Cosmoline, and I just washed my hands. So forgive me for that. If you were like real interested in seeing all the parts, I can assure you it's a matching numbers gun. The only number that isn't matching is the little electro penciled one that's on the recoil spring. And I don't even think that was matching from the factory. I think they just put one in as the gun was built. But all the major components, barrel trunnion in the receiver, the gas tube, bolt carrier, the buttstock obviously has a big stamp on the side, but all of the major components that are you expect them to be matching numbers from the factory are matching numbers on this gun. So in my mind, I think they just had a big box of these recoil springs and they just threw one in as the gun was built. So anyways, getting into this, this was serial number 70985. This was built and produced in 1983. It says so on the other side of that barrel trunnion. This is an M72 B1. Which was the stamped receiver version of the Yugoslavian RPK. Now, this was produced during Yugoslavia, during the time of Yugoslavia. It's no more. It's now Serbia and a bunch of other places. But needless to say, this gun was produced when Yugoslavia was still around, and it is basically if you take an AK and mix it with a Browning automatic rifle, you get this. It's a big, heavy-barreled, heavy-receivered, with a bipod AK. So it's got all the cool qualities that the Browning automatic rifle had: the big, heavy barrel and the bipod, the kind of squad automatic weapon use of the RPK was present sort of in the BAR, at least during World War II. They kind of used it that way. But it's an AK. It's a Kalashnikov. Or at least a Serbian, Yugoslavian, and Kalashnikov, what they made of that. So, anyways, I think the M72 is pretty much between this and the Romanian RPK, the 1964, whatever, the PM 1964. Between these two, they're like my favorite RPKs, and the reason being is pretty much because of just the barrel on this. You see those cooling fins? This is a huge barrel. I'll go ahead and actually just pick this up. So if you look at this barrel, that's pretty thick, boy. It's pretty much the exact same thickness all the way down. The journal only steps down right here to accept the bipod in the front sight. So it's pretty much a giant thick tube the entire way down. That's got to be the thickest barrel I've ever seen on an AK variant. It's pretty thick. It's got the thickness. So, anyways, like I said, this was produced in 1983. However, this gun is completely virgin. I looked inside the trunnion, like inside the chamber, at all the trigger components, at the bolt carrier, the tail, the safety selector, and the part on the receiver where the safety selector would have scratched a line into. There's like nowhere. This was a blued gun, and there's no bluing wear on any parts. It is completely unused. This was not used in the Yugoslavian Civil War. They must have just built this and put it into arsenal. That's it, because this was just kept in storage. I'm guessing from 1983 on. I looked down the barrel. There's no wear. This was a virgin gun. It never did anything, never hurt anybody, like a gun can hurt people. So, yeah, anyways, like I said, there's no, because they would have used corrosive ammunition as their primary, for their primary weapons, and I looked inside the gas block and inside the gas tube. There's no corrosion from any of the corrosive primers. Either this gun was completely re-arsenaled and then chopped up, or it was just never issued to frontline use, because it is totally brand new. I'm amazed by it. A lot of the times you get these RPKs and the windage adjustment is bent. This one was not. I asked for a number from the supplier who sent this to me. I asked for a number on the serial number ending in 5, and they totally did it. 70985. Really, really cool. Very excited. Yeah, like I said, this was never used in frontline combat. I don't even think it was. I think what happened was this was test fired in the factory and then just put into storage. That's it. I think that's the story. Because I'll show you. I'll prove it. If you look inside the receiver here, there is no scratching, no wear from the lockup in the grooves. It is, sorry, the camera's shitty, but come on, focus. But if you were to look at this from the come on, I won't focus. Anyways, you'll just have to take my word for it. There's like no wear on any of the parts. Here's a safety selector. Like, see the little bead that scratches the side of the receiver? It's the detent. There's no wear on the end of it, like you'd have on a normal gun that was used. Even like my AKs that I've shot, like that have a couple hundred rounds through them, they still have wear on like the parts on the hammer, on the little detent part there. There's nothing on this gun. It's like a virgin, and which makes me really pissed off because this gun should never have had to been chopped up. I'm gonna say a few things about parts kits that I think are relevant. So on the one hand, I'm very excited that we can get chopped up guns like this, because I'm going to be kind of remaking this into a super mutt RPK. What I mean by that is I'm going to be taking a spiker front sight, putting it on here. I'm going to be using a Romanian receiver, which apparently you can do, because the flares for the reinforced trunnion are the same, and it just is the same heavy receiver. But I'm going to be using a different back end because I'm not a big fan of the Yugoslavian buttstocks. They're fine for what they are, but I want to be able to put a bunch of different types of AKM buttstocks, and pretty much I'm limited to just the Yugoslavian one with this trunnion. So actually what I'm going to be doing is picking up a Polish barrel style rear trunnion, which is going to allow me to have the adapter for the over-the-top barrel style rail, which means I'm going to have this part here milled for the fork end, because there's a fork on the front of that rail, and then the little part that the locking tab flips into on the back here. So it's going to take a little bit of doing, but I'm going to have it have a barrel rail over the top so I can use a scope. Again, like I said, it's going to have a bipod and a spiker out the front, so there's going to be a Chinese component, a Polish component, Polish safety selector. I'm going to be using, for the most part, I'm going to be probably using American produced furniture, an American barrel, which will be chrome lined. It'll be the same profile, real thick, but with the fins, heavy profile, hammer forged, chrome lined barrel. Because unlike the Yugoslavians, I think chrome lining is important on AKs, because sometimes you run across ammunition that's a little bit dirty or can mess with your gun a little bit. So I like AKs with chrome lined barrels. The Yugoslavian guns are great. Serbian produced stuff is excellent. I just think it'd be that much better with chrome lined barrels. So I'm gonna get one that has a chrome lining in it, just by choice. I can get the same type of barrel, the same thick barrel, but with chrome lining in it. I'm going to be using probably a different grip. Like I said, a Polish enhanced safety selector with the little flippy-do. I'm going to be using an American trigger component. These are the original Yugoslavian ones. But yeah, anyways, I was very excited because I've heard some things about these kits. Sometimes the components are bent up or messed up. This was very well demilled and well taken care of as a parts kit. Everything's straight, everything's good. The gun was unissued, and so yeah, the super mutt will happen. It's going to be a Spiker RPK with a Barrel rail, and possibly if I can pull it off, a folding rear stock. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe just a fixed rear stock. Anyways, the other kind of coin. The other side of that coin that I was talking about with, I'm glad we can get chopped up guns because we can make really cool custom guns. On the other side of that, this gun should never have been chopped up. This was a virgin gun. I doubt this had more than a magazine put through it. F that, dude. It was brand new, and they chopped it up. It was never used in any combat. It was never used to hurt anybody. Just chopped it up and shipped it over here, which kind of pisses me off because I was looking at it and I'm like, man, I would have loved to just have the gun. Honestly, I would have loved to just have this gun as is, as it was before they mutilated it. And it's not the fault of the Serbians. The Serbians are just doing trade, but it's definitely the fault of our government. Our government sucks. There should be no restrictions on firearms imports. I don't care what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. I don't care what's going on in other countries. We should definitely be able to trade with them and bring in firearms from all over the world without having to do this shit to them. This is absolute nonsense. The fact that I have to get a gun chopped up like this in order to buy it is stupid. An original military gun. I don't care if it was a machine gun. I want the machine gun. I have the right to own a machine gun without going through paperwork and having a headache and having to ask Uncle Sam, pretty please. I do not ask the Crown for permission. So, with that said, I'm forced to buy stuff like this in order to get guns that I want. It's ridiculous. However, this is very inexpensive, so for what it is, I'm pretty happy, and I get to use my own custom components to build a gun that I really want that the Yugoslavians never thought of. So anyways, actually I will just go ahead and kind of pick this up. Like I said, usually there's some wear on some of these components, but this has zero bluing wear whatsoever. So here's the barrel end, and the bipod. I mean, you can see from the feet, this was never set down on anything. No scratches, nothing. There's that thick barrel. I told you it's the same profile all the way down the barrel. It's just huge. That's why I love it. I like the Yugoslavian RPK a lot. I like the barrel. There's the gas tube. You can see there's the only little bumps in there are just from the Cosmoline. This is pretty much a brand new gun. Handguard has just a few dings on it, but that's probably from other guns having the charging handles rubbed up against it or something, or when it was set down and maybe it fell over on the ground or something. Cleaning rod is nice and straight. Came with a cleaning rod, which is cool. Has the trigger components, everything. I showed you this already, but I'll see if it can focus on the date. Come on. Well, anyways, it says it says M72 B1, 1983, right there, and then the serial number, which is 70985, right there on the trunnion. There's a bit of the receiver. The trigger components are all intact. Nothing's bent. I've seen a bunch of these that were bent. What's cool is that the Serbians used an outside like they used a component right here as part of their trigger guard. So actually, instead of having the nut drop in from the inside, it like, as you can see, the nut doesn't drop in from the inside. It's like a riveted plate on the outside. So that's really cool. And have your ubiquitous Serbian or Yugoslavian pistol grip. This has no trench yard on it. I've seen a lot of these that have trench yard on them. I had an NPAP that had a surplus piece on it that I got from a Balkan Battlefield pickup, and that had somebody's name written on it. And then I also have that RPK, the underfolder RPK from Yugoslavia, and that has a chevron, like a upside down V. I had it carved right here on that one. So yeah, here's the safety selector again. No wear, nothing. It's unused. Top cover. There's no scratches from being put in, like, you know how you get scratches right along that edge right there being slapped in, or on the edge where the retention spring tab would have fit through. Nothing. Bolt and carrier. There's a serial number there. It's the same serial number as everything else. No carrier tail damage. That's good. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sending an American trigger group, but I'm going to be sending the original Serbian hammer. So the interface, that the part that hits into the carrier tail is going to be the original Serbian part, but everything else will be an American trigger group, so that should be just fine. What else haven't I shown you? I think what I'm going to do is make a little fake lightsaber out of this. I'll get some different things and make like a little display lightsaber. I've seen a bunch of nerds make them, and it's pretty funny, and I figured it'd be a nice way to kind of keep this piece instead of just tossing it out, making it a cool little something. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But yeah, there's that. I mean, this thing alone weighs like 2 pounds. It feels like it weighs 2 pounds. It's crazy. It's a lot of weight. Anyways, oh yeah, I'll show you the. So the buttstock has a few dings, but nicely stamped. Sling swivel on the back there. And I think I'll keep that part too on the build and just use the barrel rail. So what I mean by the barrel rail, if you look at the WBP Fox or any of the Polish modern guns that are AKs, they'll have a kind of a plate on the back here with a little nub that sticks up, and that nub has a cutout of the side, and they have a rail that fits over the top of your top cover, and it basically is a adapter for a top rail over the top, kind of like how you have a carry handle for, or not a carry handle, like a flat rail on the top of ARs. It kind of does that, and it has these forks that lock into the outsides of your rear sight. I got to do some measuring to see if I can pull it off on this one. Basically, the rear sight has these milled ramps right about here where my thumb is, and the forks kind of lock into the sides of it. If I can pull that off, I'm going to have somebody mill that part here and the same place on the other side, and it'll be able to accept the barrel rail, which is exciting because I think that's an excellent rail system. And I do want to put a etched glass on this. Anyways, oh yeah, it came with a cleaning kit, so this doesn't have any Cosmoline on it. I'm not going to get it out because I just got my hands dirty. But yeah, that's my M72 B1 stamped receiver RPK kit. Very excited because it's unissued, but also very pissed off because of our importation laws are absolutely back-asswards and stupid and should never have been in place. The fact that people just let it happen is goofy. They should have been riots and protests. But people are sheep and cows and they don't care about anything. So make sure you call your representatives and tell them, hey, don't support any Second Amendment violations. And we're watching you. So anyways, with that said, this was an M72 B1 1983 kit, virgin, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.